we were watching Celebrity Jeopardy a couple weeks ago, and one of the guest players was Chris Matthews from Hardball, and we were talking about how Alex Trebek had interviewed him during that little short segment where he does that and asked him his process for how he chooses the questions that he asks. And he said, first, I look just at the facts, and then I form an opinion. And then I moved to analysis, and we were like, it's Saving Matter! And that's so exciting to us nerds, because we're like, we teach that. And so we think we're teaching like the next Chris Matthews, which is kind of cool. But and so the Common Core standards are really all about four things. Forming an argument, that's inquiry-driven. It's using multiple texts that are multimedia, and then adding multiple perspectives to your argument, and that's how you form an argument. Really what we would like to do today is practice that with you on a topic that we're all pretty familiar with, leadership. And so I'm going to give you a couple of questions to think about. That's where that inquiry piece comes in, and I want you to be holding on to those questions the whole time you're watching and listening and reading this text set. So the questions I'm going to ask you are, what is leadership? And based on what you think it is, how do you know that's true? I'm going to ask you to watch this short video clip. It's the original Apple ad called Think Different. And I want you might have seen this before, so it might be a reread, or it might be the first time. And notice both the pictures and the words. And then at the end, I'm going to ask you to turn and talk about what you're thinking about leadership.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. But the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things.
Okay, so how does this add to your thinking of what leadership is? How do you know that's true? What evidence have you collected? How is your thinking changing or being added to by watching this? Just turn and talk to someone sitting close to you. Those awesome thoughts that you're thinking, you're adding to your thinking. Some of you are having personal connections to what you're seeing. We know that leadership takes courage. And so I want to take a look at a few pages in Bernard Waver's book, Courage. And I want you to imagine how leadership and courage are connected. There are many kinds of courage. Courage is if you knew there were some mountains, you would definitely climb them. Courage is exploring new heights and depths. Courage is what we give each other. So you might think of examples from your own life, or you might think about what's going on in the world, or you might think of some of the images that you saw. How are leadership and courage connected? Just stop and skills. And this book juxtaposes Anne Frank's life with the political backdrop of Hitler's rise to power and the Nazi regime. So I want us to look through our leadership lens as we see Hitler, who embodies many of the traits that we might say a leader is. Charm, charisma, stature, strong, influential speaking ability, able to rally the masses, just want you to take a look at this picture that you see here and what we've talked about so far and what you've thought about and wrote about and what you already know about this person and this period in history. And just reevaluate your opinion of leadership. You can add evidence to your argument, change your opinion, tweak your thinking. Turn and talk to somebody sitting next to you. How does this make you rethink your ideas of leadership or add to your ideas of leadership? Go ahead and turn and talk to someone sitting close to you. Video clips are a great way to round out any text set in that they bring relevance to the students' lives. They connect our teaching to pop culture and make their understanding of what we're trying to teach them more relevant. They can be familiar too to kids, which is a bonus. I use a lot of Disney clips in my text sets, and most importantly, though, that they level the playing field by eliminating the edge that a higher reader can sometimes have, and this is because they can envision the text better. And it can also be viewed quickly, shedding light on a complex issue in just under a few minutes. So most of the clips I'm showing you are under 2 minutes. Watch this clip from Remember the Titans, and it's okay if you're not familiar with the story because you can pick up the complex theme just in this 1 minute and 26 seconds that I'm going to show you. And I want you to further your thinking about leadership. This clip is actually called Attitude Reflects Leadership. So I'm going to give you 2 prompts, and I want you to complete each thought with the first thing that pops into your head after. And I'm going to ask you what leadership is and what leadership's not.
I'm Gary, you're Julius. Let's get some particulars and just get this over with, all right?
Particulars?
Yeah.
No matter what I tell you, you ain't gonna never know nothing about
Hey,
me.
listen, I ain't running any more of these 3 days, okay?
Well, what I got to say, you really don't want to hear, because honesty ain't too high up on your people's priorities, right?
Honesty? You want honesty? All right, honestly, I think you're nothing. Nothing but a pure waste of God-given talent. You don't listen to nobody, man. Not even Dr. Boone. Shiver push on the line every time, man. You blow right past him. Push him, pull him, do something. You can't run over everybody in this league. And every time you do, you leave one of your teammates hanging out to dry. Me in particular.
Why should I give a hoot about you? Huh? Or anybody else out there? You want to talk about the ways you the captain, right?
Right.
Captain's supposed to be the leader, right?
Right.
You got a job?
I have a
you
job.
been doing your job?
I've been doing my job.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for Red Feather? Because they have not blocked for him or for Blood Nickel, and you know it. Nobody plays. Yourself included. I'm supposed to wear myself out for the team? What team? No. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look out for myself, and I'm going to get mine.
Steve, man, that's the worst attitude I ever heard.
Attitude reflect leadership, Captain.
I'm going to ask you those 2 prompts again, and I just want you to write down the first thing that pops into your head right now. Leadership is, leadership is not. Stop and shop. Leader born or is a leader made? Before I read this next piece, it's important to note that the Common Core standards focus a lot on expository and non-fiction text. But we know that narrative, i.e. story, is found throughout the non-fiction or expository world because it is how we make sense of the world. We are drawn to story. And so I'm going to share just a little vignette in this book Columbia Teachers College Reading Writing Project Director Lucy Calkins wrote called Pathways to the Common Core. We've done a lot of work in the past, and in our district we have a history with Teachers College. And so they've really started leading the charge on the Common Core. And there's a vignette about leadership that I'd like to read to you. And as you listen, I'd like you to ask yourself that question. Is a leader born or is a leader made? This section is called Reading the Common Core State Standards as if they're gold. Cory Booker, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, has, through his approach to his city, helped us think about the need to read the standards or any initiative as if they are full of potential, to see them with the eyes of hope. In a recent commencement speech at Williams College, Booker told the story of how, as a young Yale law student, he decided to become a community organizer and thought the best place to start was Newark, the city that Time magazine had called the most dangerous city in the nation. People in Newark said to him, "If you want to help the city, you don't need to learn from all those Yale professors. You need to learn from the Queen Mother." The Queen Mother, he asked. He said that it was suggested that he visit a woman who lived on the 5th floor of Brick Towers, one of Newark's most notorious developments. Cory Booker climbed the stairs and knocked on the door of Virginia Jones' apartment. A 70-something-year-old woman came to the door. Retelling this story, he recalled saying, "Ma'am, I am Cory Booker. I am from Yale Law School, ma'am, and I am here to help you out." The Queen Mother, unimpressed, responded, "Well, if you really want to help me, follow me." They walked down 5 flights, through the courtyard, past a group of drug dealers, and into the middle of the street. "Tell me what you see around you," she instructed Cory. In his speech, Cory began to describe the scene around him. "I see an abandoned building filled with people doing nefarious activities. I see graffiti." The Queen Mother stopped him. "Boy, you can't help this city," she said, and stormed off. Cory ran behind her, stunned. "Ma'am, ma'am," he asked, "what just happened?" Virginia Jones wheeled around and said to Cory, "You need to understand something, boy. The world you see outside of you is a reflection of what you have inside of you. If you are one of those people who sees problems and darkness and despair, then that is all there is ever going to be for you. But if you are one of those people who sees hope, opportunity, and love, then you can make a difference."
To be able to be able to make the choices that we make, that brings out.
So if your brain feels like it's a little bit in overdrive, if I say leadership one more time, you're like, okay. It should be, because the Common Core standards are nothing if not rigorous. I'm going to share with you now our last text set of the set, and it's a song lyric and a video montage called "The Power of One." And as you watch, I want you to be thinking about all the evidence that you've collected about what you believe leadership to be and how you know that. And is there anything else that you would like to add from this text?
One person refused to sit on the back of the bus. She changed the ride for all of us. Oh, that's the power of one. Her diary found a light in the dark. A young girl's hope touched millions of hearts. Oh, that's the power of one. One grain of sand can turn the tide. One single spark can light the night. One simple dream, one gentle word, one act of love from someone can start a chain reaction. It all begins in the heart, and the power of one.
So that's the end of our text set. And if you were in a classroom, we might ask you to take all that you have compiled and start the process of forming a written argument or an argument that you might be talking to partners or clubs or have a grand conversation with. So that's the kind of work that we've been engaged in as coaches, and we're pretty excited to be able to share it with you.